Hi, uh, my name's AVS. I'm the writer of DNA, the book and book series on Wattpad. I wanted to make this video because I kind of came up with the idea of explaining the history elements that maybe are touched up upon once or twice in the books and the YouTube analog horror series that's in the same universe. But the book only has 3 chapters so far for each of the 2 books. So I'm sure there'll be more room for me to include more of those history events. But I wanted to make this video just to kind of show a spoiler-free explanation of the historical events happening before the book, before the prologue, the first prologue chapter of the book. And maybe even leading up to the eventual invasion at the end of the prologue. Maybe I'll touch up upon that. It's kind of going into mild spoiler territory, but not really because it's in the prologue. But it is one of the final historical events that happens before the story really begins, or during the beginning of the story. Okay, enough blabbering. Let's get into the timeline summary. So, this part of the story doesn't really have too much context, besides a mix between a lot of events that have been transpiring over the years, and it seems like it's leading towards this point, but I'm not sure when it'll exactly happen, so there's just this big gap. But by the time of when stuff really starts kicking off for the DNA history, the US and maybe a lot of other countries have gone through multiple revolutions and have basically been rebuilt from the ground up multiple times. Not sure how much, but it starts to become a extreme trend for multiple centuries. This leads to various states cutting off from the main country and forming their own smaller mini countries. Kind of like what the Soviet Union did post-Cold War. The bigger chunk is still recognized mostly as the US. It's just the new US. Kind of like Cyberpunk's NUSA. But this was rebuilt from these events that happened. Which I will definitely touch up more upon when I actually get to maybe writing something during that moment in history. But as of right now, there isn't really much to go on. Besides, another thing that I want to touch up upon, I put on the timeline thing starting at 2050. Fun fact, in the original draft for The Caravan, the spin-off book about Scarlet, in the original draft, they actually go to 2050. and not the modern era, which is somewhere in the early 2000s. That's not really specified. Which is interesting. But as we know in the book, they end up going to early 2000s, which is where Dante, where Selene, where everyone else goes to. That's kind of where most of the story will take place. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about. If I were to have went along with that original draft, along with a lot of the other things that were in the original draft, that could have probably led to me making a book taking place in 2050. But I wanted to have her story connect with Dante's and Selene's a lot more than what was in some of the original drafts of the story, because she was kind of just a one-off, one-shot character that I just came up with in the middle of a fucking D&D session. So I wanted to make her more involved, which is what I like to do with a lot of my side characters, is to make them more involved, give them their own backstories, and make them feel like their own main character in a lot of ways. You know, this isn't just a story about Dante. This is a story about everyone. It's just Dante is the guy who's in between all of it. He's the guy that everyone, cares about so much. But he's not the only main character. Anyway, 2050 isn't exactly the beginning of when shit starts to hit the fan, because I think there's probably a calm before the storm. I just put 2050 there as like an early set mark of where it could start. But I feel like 2050 is more is going to be more of like a neutral year. It's going to be, probably fine. I don't think it'd probably get so bad until roughly 2060 or 2070. It really just depends what I end up making it up to be. This isn't going aligned with real world history. I mean, it kind of is, but it's more so a alternate history depiction, because there's a lot of alternate history in the DNA universe, but there's also a lot of parallels in the DNA universe. It's kind of like a lot of media that depicts the future, so it kind of just fits. Some things are based on real world evidence, and some things are just shit I make up. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see about a follow-up video once I actually get to that point, and maybe make some stuff on that gap of history. But now we get into the next stage. Ah, yes, the 1,000 Years' War. Now, this is the near-apocalypse event to end all near-apocalypse events. Okay? So, I can't go into complete detail to avoid spoilers, because this has a lot to do with the end of the book that I have not made yet. But I have up in here. My head. I'm pointing at my head. You cannot see that, but still. Oh boy. So, in a single instant, starting at 3,900, the entire world was thrown into a state of war. War with what? We don't know. Neither did anyone, actually. It just happened. The world started tearing apart, and lots of people just started getting killed by whatever started this war. It's unknown to the public. And every attempt to record what happened was destroyed. More on that later. So, a lot of people hid in bunkers. They waited it out, made civilizations underground until the end of it. And a lot of people that didn't make it to these bunkers died brutally. Were not recognizable. Whatever attacked them completely obliterated any trace of their existence. Think atomic bomb, but 100 times. The entire landscape was destroyed completely. Worse than Chernobyl, worse than anything ever in history, worse than the series of civil wars beforehand. This is like the most ridiculous level of destruction ever that's ever hit anything. I can say that there was a lot of natural disasters that were a part of it, but a lot of it was man-made. Man-made by what? Don't know. You're going to have to find that out when the chapter comes out to reveal it. But a lot of this mayhem and destruction and mystery and cosmic horror levels of fucked up, a organization or two were formed that ended the entire war that we don't even know the cause of. And no one got any information. They just got a knock on their little bunkers saying, hey, it's safe to come out, by people that somehow lived through this, that were all a part of two organizations. The Commoner Defense Force and the World Government. So many people died that there was no semblance of civilization but one. Anyway, yeah, that's the 1,000 Years War, spoiler-free edition. Yeah, alright, moving on. So, after that previous clusterfuck of history, the world government, its reign and control over all of the sectors of the world. Yes, sectors. Kind of like the Hunger Games regions. But less dark and dystopian, but still a tiny bit dystopian, but not in the ways you would think. People living, great quality of life. I mean, as much as, the war-torn environment can be, uh, lots of construction and technology advancement. Hooray! Thanks to our world government making it possible. So, yeah, it's pretty good. So the world rebuilds for 100 years. The military, they're just kind of there to be there. The Commoner Defense Force. They don't do too much because they don't need to do too much. There's no wars. There's no conflict of interest. There's just peace. Peace for a solid 100 years. That's pretty impressive compared to the centuries upon centuries of bloodshed that just happened. So 5,000 through 5,100. Not much do they go on besides peace and advancement. Megacities are made that are very big, spanning entire sectors. Trainways, underground driving, flying cars, finally. A lot of aircraft, fast travel, especially with, the world being so connected, being under this world government. Now, I know there's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, oh, world government, that sounds hella authoritarian. Yeah, that would be, especially with a lot of context of our history as a species. But, surprisingly, it goes pretty well for the most part for the 100 years that it's in existence. Though, still no info on the 1,000 Years' War. And that makes history class pretty difficult during that era. Well, pretty difficult, and they can't really tell the kids what happened because they don't know. I mean, they know a little bit of what the world government tells them, but they don't know the finer print. So, I mean, I guess that part's easy because the only answers they have are the answers that are easiest. All that bloodshed is behind them now. Still leaves the average mind to wonder on what happened during that time when the world was in the dark. There's been a rise in, general good peace. A lot of the criminals, besides the ones that were captured during the 1,000 Years' War, and the ones that were already in the deep solitary prisons, that have stayed there. They stay there. They're in those cells, and a lot of the other criminals had perished in the conflict, which is good. There's still some crime, I will say that, but it's handled pretty well by the Commoner Defense Force, as they are a pretty well put together militia that was founded during the 1,000 Years' War. Still wonder what happened that time. You'll find that out in the book. Now let's go to the logo here that you can see on the screen. I made this quickly in Canva, but it's their logo. You can see the world and then the peace sign resembling their goal to maintain peace no matter the cost. Take that as you will. Though their peace sign is slightly slanted, probably describing how things don't add up, things are not on straight, but they're healing, and maybe this will work out for however so long. That's what people said until 5100 at the end of the year on New Year's Eve. Okay, quick note before we go to the next part. I forgot to mention that, yes, the world government had some notion in covering up what happened. I don't know if I made that very obvious, but they covered up whatever was going on during that 1,000 Years' War. And also there were civilian drills in case of an enemy attack. And you may be wondering, who would be invading? One fateful night on New Year's Eve, 5100, this aired on television.
This is a world government alert message. This is not a drill. We are under attack by an unknown organization. Please follow all of your guided parameters and stay vigilant.
An alert broadcast message telling people that they were under attack by an unknown organization and to follow all of their guided parameters. What were those guided parameters? It's hard to say, really, but now we'll go into who invaded the world government. Now this is what the logo you see on screen right now. Zalam Private Military. Now, who is Zalam Private Military? They are, a private military, but besides the point, to understand who they are, we must first understand where they came from. Most of the initial Zalam Private Military were a part of the Death Row Sector. The Death Row Sector, that is where all of the inmates and prisoners left over from the 1,000 Years' War that survived were held at the Death Row Sector of the world. A lot of these criminals were under harsh living conditions, were offered no support, and were kind of left to rot on a deserted island that was also a military base. The CDF's base was around this sector. Not their only base, but one of their bases. This was to keep it contained and to keep the prisoners inside. And this was until something broke into the facility and freed all of them. It's unknown who or what freed them, but they were given high-tech weaponry and gear that was hella against the Geneva Convention, if that even existed then. And basically told these prisoners, hey, you can be free now. You can screw over everyone else. You just need to give me your undying loyalty. And so what do these prisoners do when they have nothing left? They comply, and they join and form Zalam PMC, with the head honcho second in command being a member known as Eye Patch, who was probably one of the worst, and had some relevance in the Thousand Years' War, and was put here not only because he was an insane war criminal, but because he had intel on the war, and he was immediately silenced by whoever was in control of the world government. So now, these criminals from all pasts that have committed heinous crimes, hence being mostly comprised of death row inmates, now have access to high-grade military weaponry and vehicles. Man, what could fucking go wrong?
Oh, what the fuck? Sacred Pigeon, you have 3 unidentified aircraft right next to you. Do you see that? Oh, over?
I don't. Are you messing with me? I don't see them. Please advise. Over.
What the fuck? You don't see them on your radar? Over?
No, I don't see them, bro. It's like the radar's all fucking fuzzy and shit. I think my signal's being jammed. You need to report this in right now. Might have some attackers, combatants. Just call it in.
Duh. Racial to base.
I repeat, everyone enter inside now. Over. This is a code red. We may be under attack by hostiles. Over.
Sacred Pigeon, come in. Sacred Pigeon, come in. Tommy, you still out there? Over.
This is Thomas. This is Thomas. I'm being attacked by them. I'm being attacked. Shit, they just fucking blasted the engine. I'm going down. Mayday. I'm going to...
Say again last. Sacred Pigeon, say again last.
I'm still here. Fuck, I crash landed. There's a fucking bridge in me. I'm bleeding out. Cockpit's on fire. Help.
Oh god, we're under attack. Thomas, you gonna be okay? Thomas?
Oh man, I don't think it hit any of my vital spots. Just fucking bleeding. Try to cover up the blood. Holy shit. There's fucking hundreds of them. Oh god. They see me, they see me. Oh, no.
Thomas, you still there? Thomas! Fucking pick up! Thomas! God damn it!
We're under attack. Over.
Yes, we're under attack! Sacred Pigeon is down. I repeat, Sacred Pigeon is down and KIA. We need to alert the nearby cities. Over.
Okay. I'm sending out the broadcast message now. People should get it within a few minutes. Over.
Oh god, what are we gonna fucking do? He said there was hundreds of them. If there are hundreds of soldiers invading us right now, this could be a huge risk for the safety of our people. Over.
This is a code black. Going to everyone nearby. We are under attack by an unknown organization. Please follow all your safety instructions and stay vigilant.
And so goes the Zalam private military invasion begins. Now you might be wondering, Zalam, what does that mean, and why is that the name of the private military? Well, Zalam means darkness, and Zalam is what the PMC named the PMC in homage to their rescuer, who called himself Zalam. Whatever this thing that rescued them refers to itself as Zalam, or darkness. That's all the detail going with that, without hitting spoiler territory, but you'll learn more about that in the book later on. So please check out some chapters and maybe you'll learn more. Also check out the YouTube Analog Horror series. I plan on making more parts when more chapters release. So, moving forward from the invasion that was thousands of death row inmates and prisoners of war, everyone's fucking dead. Those who didn't get completely slaughtered, brutalized, and maybe even worse, were migrated into the PMC as conscripts. Most had a skill set, which made them a valuable asset to the PMC that was spreading after they basically slaughtered most people. And those who didn't have a skill set or refused to comply with Zalam PMC, they were sent to a large prison facility that was being constructed during the invasion, where they were conducting a machine to have a use for these disagreeers. And what was that machine?
Zalam Private Military, the Biomass Recycling Walk-in Furnace, Operation Training Video. What is the Biomass Recycling Walk-in Furnace? The recycling walk-in furnace is a gymnasium-sized room, built from stainless steel, that has a slanted floor with the funnel in the center. The room is equipped to melt any biological objects down to a sludge that can be used in tangent with compounds to make a near-limitless fuel supply. How does it work? Step 1. Place the biological material inside the room. Excellent. Step 2. Make sure the biological object is secure to prevent the funnel from being clogged. Excellent. Step 3. Step 3. Pull the switch and watch your biological object turn into a mush known as biomass. Congratulations, you finished the course. Get some rest for tomorrow. Stay strong.
So, what did we learn from the presentation class? The private military did fucking crazy shit to their prisoners, such as throwing them all into a giant fucking furnace, melting them alive, and then turning them into fucking fuel. Got that? Got that. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, they are not good people. As you've learned, because they were freed from a large area that consisted of death row inmates. Yeah, okay, cool. So that happened. And that was happening. So what was the PMC combining with the biomass? Well, they were combining a potent energy source called dark matter. Now, what is dark matter? I don't know. I mean, I do know, but that would lead into spoiler territory, and we're making this video to avoid spoilers. So you just know that there's something called dark matter, and it's fused with biomass to make fuel for the PMC's airships and electronics. Because petroleum is long gone, and the remaining fuel sources are obsolete, and will be obsolete when they run out. And you may be wondering, so how do they get more people? That's simple. They breed the prisoners. And if the prisoners don't have skills to develop and don't do well in joining Zalam PMC, which most didn't because their parents were, being held captive and eventually turned into fucking sludge, they were turned into fucking sludge as well. Generation by generation. Leaving some alive to procreate, to then be turned into sludge, to be turned into fuel, to be turned into fucking toxins that are released into the air. The air is fucking not completely unbreathable, but it is fucking thick. The air is thick with the stench of death. It is thick and gray. There is an eternal night. It is just a graying sky, like the shit from the fucking Matrix. And this shit goes on for 5 fucking years straight, until the fateful night where everything changes for Zalam private military. And you will learn more about that in the book. In Chapter 1. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me talking about the most darkest fucking thing ever, that is the DNA universe. I really enjoyed this passion project, and I hope this will get more traction to my book and my story. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, leave a like or a heart and tell me what you think about this in the comments. And what you think about the lore that I've created and world building for my book. And let me know if you are interested in reading the series. And if you are interested, The link is in the pinned video in the comments. You have to copy and paste the Wattpad URL into a search bar, remove the username beforehand, and you'll be at my account. Then you can view all my books there. Convoluted process, I know, but that is the only way I could think of making it to where you can view my books. And I hope that it works. And I'm almost positive that the link works, so you should be fine with that. So yeah, that's the history of DNA before the book begins and during a little bit of the beginning of the prologue, and in the middle of the prologue in chapter 1. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you when I reveal the release of chapter 4. Goodbye.